Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome once again to another episode of Foreign Investment Podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of inviting, and I'm extremely thrilled to introduce Shannon Marin, pardon me, from Lux. Oh, I've got a little bit of feedback here. I don't know why. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm actually
That's
going live
okay.
on Instagram as well. So, as you can see, it's going live also, so it repeats itself. But anyway, let's get back to Shannon. Shannon Marin is with Luxx Life Global. Shannon is not only a visionary leader in the luxury lifestyle space, but also a powerhouse when it comes to guiding Canadians and Americans on the journey to invest in stunning real estate, not only in Huatulco, Mexico, but all parts of the world. At Lux Global, Lux Life Global, Shannon has been breaking new ground by helping people from North America tap into the incredible opportunities of foreign investment. Whether you're dreaming of a vacation home, a savvy investment property, or just simply exploring a new market, she's here to make the process smooth and exciting. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Shannon Martin. Let's dive into her story and discover how she's turning dreams into reality in one of Mexico's most beautiful destinations. Hi, Sharon. It's
Hi,
Shannon. Pardon me. I keep on
yeah,
saying
that's okay.
Sharon.
I get Sharon all the time. I get Sharon all the time. It's all good. It's all good.
Very well. So,
Thank you so much for that brilliant introduction.
of
Thank you.
course, my pleasure. I mean, it's well deserved for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, foreign investment. It's fun and it's challenging, and it's challenging for me, and it's challenging for the people that have a fear of doing it, but it is totally doable. It's
Absolutely.
I did it, so anybody else can do it as well.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
let's dive into your story a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about Lux Life and how you started in the international investment chapter of your life.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I started building my real estate team. I became licensed in 2004 on Vancouver Island in Canada. So I had a team there that was tip to tip.
Okay.
We started off with doing, all kinds of properties, and then started veering off towards just investment, just luxury. And then, it started to rain more and more in Canada. I started spending a little bit more time at my home in Arizona.
Okay.
Um, but then realized that, the trend was to move to Mexico. That's kind of where we were thinking. So we picked up and moved to Mexico for the majority of the time. I still run my Canadian business virtually with the help of my team. But
Fantastic.
I am here in Zihuatanejo, Mexico. I've
Oh, beautiful.
gone through the whole experience of, buying my own property so I can guide people well on the things that you have to look out for.
Yeah.
So that's been a process over the last couple of years, deciding where to live, whether it's Playa del Carmen, Huatulco, the Pacific Coast, inland. Like, there's so many things to know about moving to Mexico that
Right.
people don't really think about. They just think, I'm going to move to Mexico. But
Right. That's their
so
first thought process, right? Is moving to
yeah,
Mexico. It seems to be easy.
yeah, yeah. But it's, there are things that you need to know. It's not just,
Absolutely.
not like moving from one town to the next.
Yeah,
It's,
no, I couldn't
it's,
agree with you more. So a little bit about my background is back in the mid '90s. I've been in the industry 33 years. I was a mortgage banker for 8, and 3 years of that mortgage banking career, I was actually a regional manager for a mortgage company that actually was kind of pioneering mortgages in Mexico. So I spent a lot of time in Puerto
ah,
Peñasco. I
oh,
spent some
yes.
time in
Okay.
Rosarito and in Ensenada and also San Carlos,
Uh huh.
primarily northern Baja and some of parts of Sonora, like I mentioned before. So
Yeah.
I truly understand every step of the purchasing process and how someone can think that it's really simple and easy,
Yeah.
which it is, but we just got to go through the right steps, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in a meeting.
So I truly understand what it takes to be able to purchase property in Mexico, and it sounds like you're well versed in different markets. It looks like you're in Cihuatanejo now. You talked about Playa del Carmen, and you talked about Huatulco. So tell us a little bit about kind of your experiences and in some of those regions of Mexico, and what you're currently seeing in terms of what we call expats, right, moving to Mexico and making sure they choose the right place that fits their lifestyle, right? That's the most important thing.
That is it. So there's all kinds of different things to consider. Like, do you want an expat community where you feel comfortable being around, Canadians and Americans? Do you want sort of a blend where in Zihuatanejo, where I live, there's a lot of Mexicans, there's a bunch of expats, there's a lot of Mexican nationals that come here to visit from Mexico City and different places.
Okay.
Everybody blends, it's really great. And, some people are more wanting to be involved with what they're used to, and other people are okay, looking at something more authentic. You got to consider the weather. Do you like it really, really hot, which it is here, or do you prefer more dry, deserty on the Baja? Huatulco, where we have one of our big developments, we're working on the Alma development there. And, then you have to consider price point. Are you looking to spend 150,000 for, a one bedroom condo somewhere, or are you looking for a grand villa at, 1 million plus, right? So,
Right.
which is what we have on the ocean front in Huatulco, right?
That's
So,
awesome. That sounds exciting. Sounds like it's a beautiful development. I know that today we've primarily focused on investment in Huatulco. You and I spent some time together last year talking a little bit about Alma, and I kind of wanted to touch base with you and kind of follow up with you and see how that's coming along, and how someone who might be interested in Alma, knowing what Alma offers, and maybe taking that opportunity to visit Huatulco, visit the development, and kind of learn a little bit about investing in Huatulco. Tell me a little about Alma and how's that coming along?
it's really, really exciting right now, because we've been marketing the properties for over a year now. But we're right now, finally, all the permits are in place, everything is approved, and construction has started as of just last month.
That's
So
fantastic news. Great news.
yeah, yeah,
Tell
it's
us about tell us a little bit about that process. I think most people are a little concerned when it's a new development, new build. Tell us a little bit about the builder. How are they building out? Are they doing their own financing? Are they using down payments from potential buyers to construct?
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful in Mexico. You have to know that whatever development you're buying into, that there is financial backing first and foremost. So these guys are not an issue there. They're a couple from France. They're a lovely, lovely couple. I spend a lot of time with them, getting to know them, and touring around Huatulco with them, as well as spending time on the property as well. And the nice thing about them is they both have the experience. Frederick has a background in doing prior developments in Europe, a background in sales, and Noemi has a background in marketing as well as in sustainability. So that is the nice thing about this project, is that they're really you can tell that they're really making an effort to save the environment, care about the environment, keeping as many of the natural trees there as possible, trying not to disrupt things, as little impact as possible on the environment while they're building. So that's where I can really get behind this project. And the other thing is the way that the villas are built, they're all built with green roofs. So even if you're at the top of the development, all you're going to see is a sea of green before you hit that blue ocean. So,
That's awesome. Awesome. Sounds
yeah,
like a wonderful development. Tell me a little bit about the villas. What are they offering to the public? What's the entry? What's the price point? And if someone's interested, what's the process to maybe visit the site, and do a walkthrough of the property and kind of see what
okay.
Alma has to offer?
Yeah, okay. So the villas, there's condos, villas, and then grand villas. So the condos now are started. The price point on those is nine hundred, low 900s US dollars.
Okay.
Um, and then you can get into the villas for one and a half. The prices are changing all the time as we get further into
Sure.
construction. So I can send a price list to anybody that's interested. And then the grand villas of 5,000 square feet, they are getting up into closer to the $2 million range. So they
Fantastic.
are more than 40% sold at this point,
Hmm.
with a mix of Mexicans, Canadians, US, and Europeans.
So
So
a good blend of people.
a good blend, and also the demographic in age, anywhere from 20s to 70s.
Okay. So it's a
So
mixture of people, a mixture of folks.
yeah,
What primarily drives someone to want to buy a condo villa or grand villa in Alma?
well,
What's driving them there?
it's a very unique development. The architectural design of it is like nothing you've seen in this area, where it's very minimalist, it's very sleek. The indoors is brought outdoors by the lack of walls, and there's floor to ceiling glass rather than walls. um, it's very close to, it's within walking distance to downtown Huatulco, Santa Cruz, so it's close to all amenities, where a lot of other developments, you do need a car to get around. The This project borders the national park, so
Oh,
you
okay.
have the Pacific Ocean in your front yard, you have the national park and forest in your backyard, you have beaches just down a little side trail from your villa. You're going to have access to the beach. It's just the perfect location. But I think that they're doing something different, like the
Okay.
design, the architecture, um, all of that. And the price point for some people watching might think, okay, well, that's pretty high. But I do a lot of work in other areas of Mexico, and the value that they're offering at that price point is second to none. It's absolutely stunning. So,
Fantastic. Well, it
so
sounds like most developments, I think most people, what they really look for is number one is they want to be close to the ocean, near
yeah,
beaches, right? And they want to experience because there's something special to say about the Mexican lifestyle, right? Laid
so
back, wonderful food, and most importantly, amazing people and culture. I think that's
yes,
probably the number one thing that people appreciate of Mexico is its people, its culture, and its food. So,
yes,
you know, if,
agreed,
right,
agreed.
right. So if it's not like if Cabo isn't the right place for you because you don't like that desert hot heat,
Yeah,
or if you don't like Playa del Carmen because Playa del Carmen is hot and humid, maybe you don't like all the extra traffic that maybe Tulum is getting right now because it's
yeah,
growing too fast. If you want something, it sounds like something quaint, something quiet, something nestled in the forest near the national park and with beautiful ocean views and beautiful beaches, then Alma might be the right product for you. Might be the right property for you in Huatulco.
that's it. And there's a lot more to Watuco than people realize. And like I said, I've done lots of touring around the area with the developers, and up into the back roads, visiting coffee plantations, visiting waterfalls that are not just run of the mill tourist attraction. You sort of have to know how to get there. You have to know all the little hot spots to go and eat and drink in Watuco. It's not overly touristy, and it's not overly obvious. So it's kind of neat just discovering all the little hidden gems around Watuco as well.
Well,
And the
it sounds.
water,
Uh huh. Go ahead.
the that part of the Pacific Ocean is the most amazing waters in all of Mexico, really.
For those folks that may not be familiar with Huatulco, where is it located?
It is located closer to Guatemala than it is to the US.
Okay.
on the Pacific side. So
Okay.
it's right down on the southern Pacific coast, and once you hit Oaxaca, then you start heading more towards the Caribbean side. So
Okay.
you're at the very bottom of the Pacific side of
So
Mexico.
would you say that the Pacific waters are probably the best that you've seen in terms of what the Pacific can offer? I mean, I know there's Puerto Vallarta, there's Nuevo Vallarta, there's
Yeah,
Mazatlan, so
yeah.
which are all on the Pacific side. Tell us a little bit about Huatulco and the beaches it offers.
I want to say, so I was camping on a beach in Huatulco a couple of years ago. We were on an adventure touring around all of Mexico, and I was sitting in about 6 inches of water on the beach where I had giant angelfish swimming all around me. You don't even need a snorkel and a mask in Huatulco. You can just
Wow,
sit right next to a piece of coral and have all this amazing aquarium right at your toes.
that's
So
beautiful. That sounds
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. So the marine life there, and the water is so super, super clear.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the local economies. Are there any folks that are doing, remote working? If there are, is there a large community? What kind of services can someone expect when you move to Huatulco? Because it sounds like Huatulco is a slower paced community, not as
Yeah,
fast paced as Puerto Vallarta or Nueva Vallarta, let's say.
yeah.
And what should someone expect?
So it really is about the outdoors in Huatulco, which, I mean, living in Mexico, you spend time outside all the time, anyways. But, if you are somebody that's interested in water activities, sort of the more of the authentic Mexican lifestyle, that's what you're gonna find in Huatulco. There's definitely, no matter where you go in Mexico now, there's definitely the digital nomads that are, and there's excellent Wi-Fi areas, excellent internet services are all good there. So if you have an online job, um, you got no worries in that. I mean, pretty much everywhere in Mexico in the populated areas is set up to attract those other people that are working online now. So,
Fantastic. What's the
yeah.
economy like? What can someone expect of the local economy? Is it a little bit more quaint? Is it a little slower? Or are there economies, local economies? You mentioned some coffee factories or other things. Tell me a little bit about that. Someone who's looking to maybe relocate and still have access to some of those, commercial amenities. Oh, looks like we might have lost Shannon.
Oh, there we go.
There
There
you
we
are.
go. Yeah. So in the fact that we are um it's Huatulco is a little bit slower in the fact that it's a little bit more authentic, and there's not co-working spaces popping up all over the place and all of that, but there's definitely a coffee shop that you can go and work at, and that kind of thing. um and then again, it depends on what somebody is looking for. If you are looking for that laid back lifestyle, well, it is laid back for a reason, right? The
Right.
economy is catering to those people that are looking for that. So they're not building to turn it into another Puerto Vallarta or a Cancun or anything like that. Like, they're very methodical about the projects that they allow in Huachuco to
Fantastic.
keep it authentic, right?
To keep it quaint and authentic, which like I
Yeah,
said, is attracting a certain prospect, a certain buyer, a certain lifestyle. So Watul can afford
that's
you that.
right. That's
Wonderful.
right. That's
So
right.
when we started this conversation, I came to learn that you have operations throughout Mexico. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about some other things that you're doing in Mexico and how someone might be able to invest in Mexico in working with you and myself.
Sure, sure. So, back to Watuco for a second. If somebody wants the information or they want to view the properties, anywhere in Mexico, it's an easy flight. So if somebody's interested in, you know, I could. it's like hopping a plane for 20 minutes to get over to the property,
Oh
right?
man,
So
perfect,
it's
perfect.
easy peasy. But I'm based here in Zihuatanejo.
Okay.
Most people know Zihuatanejo from the movie The Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I am based here in Zihuatanejo, and we have a variety of things. We have new developments just south of us towards the airport, where there's a full subdivision built and ready to build on, where you can choose your lot, choose your plan, or have their architect build one of your own. And that's called the Las Olas subdivision.
Okay.
Um, and that is starts with lower end, not lower end, but lower end of the development, townhomes to mid luxury to ultra luxury on the beachfront. So
Okay. And what are the
uh,
price points starting on that?
the price point starting on that, I'm not exactly sure what the townhomes are. A mid range house is going to be around 750.
Okay.
Um, but again, they're ready to build. All the permits are in place, all the infrastructure is in place. One nice thing to note with that development is that the water to all the homes is filtered. So you can drink right out of the tap, which is like
Nice.
a really exciting thing.
That's something that's
Um,
not very common in Mexico. That's for sure. So
no,
that's
no,
exciting.
it's not. It's not. Yeah. And then right in Zihuatanejo here, we have a lot of condos available. The average price point of a condo here, say a 2-year-old condo within 5 minutes to the beach, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, ocean view, pool. Uh, it's about 450 to 500 in there.
Okay.
And then we have more luxury condos, penthouse, 3 bedrooms, 2 floors. Those are in the 700 range. And then we have more south of town, and a couple little communities that we work in south of town. That's Troncones. That's more of a surfing community. It's a very, very small community, but high end homes there. So we have a couple of boutique hotels available for sale. We have beachfront homes that start at 2.5 million US dollars. We have building lots that start around 1 million. So there's that as well. And then you mentioned Puerto Vallarta a couple of times. We do have some projects over in Puerto Vallarta that we're bringing on soon.
Okay.
So don't quite have the details of that yet. And then in Playa del Carmen, we have an interesting project of single family homes in a community that surrounds its very own cenote.
Oh
So,
wow. So
so
like it's
that,
a little private cenote.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, and that's a really exciting one because a lot of the things being built now is condos in that area. So this is
Yes.
a single family home community, and that's really exciting, and all kinds of options there as well. You can purchase your lot and sit on it, or you can build right away, or you know.
You
So
know, that's interesting. You mentioned, I know that Playa del Carmen, Playa Car, Tulum, and that entire Playa del Carmen region, Riviera Maya, is expanding and building quite rapidly. And most of their product is townhome condos just because their their density has to be pretty high and less impactful because of the natural resources there, right? Because of the
yes,
forest and the tropical forest, things of that nature, all the ecological protections. So it's interesting to see that there's an actual development that has single family homes because I think there's a certain maybe a certain type of buyer that would like a little bit more privacy, a little bit more separation. This particular
yes,
development sounds like it could afford them a single family home, and
yeah.
they might be looking for that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So here in Ziwa here the other day, I did meet with a young family. So people are also bringing their families, and whether they're homeschooling their children or they're actually putting them into the school system, that's something that's not a rarity anymore either. And,
Yes.
so,
You're absolutely right. I have a friend of mine. She moved to Cabo. She's from Vancouver as well.
uh-huh.
Christina and her husband Ryan. They moved to Cabo a few years ago, and they just built out a new property. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know Christina.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, we run in the same circles, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
And she's a lovely lady. Her husband met her husband at El Corazon at a wedding that we went to a few years ago, and we've stayed in touch. And I've seen her journey, and she was telling me that there's a lot of well, she's one of the ones that are moving from Canada to Mexico, and they're homeschooling. And it's something
Yeah.
that they're really really proud of, and happy to be able to do so, right? So, being
Yeah.
in Mexico affords you that opportunity to kind of manage, if you do have children, if you want to put them in the school system, or if you want to, educate them at home. So, um,
Yeah.
definitely an opportunity for them.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And more people are doing it. Um, I know that some people, and that there's still the myths and the fears about moving to Mexico or
Sure.
investing in Mexico, and that, it might not be safe or it's risky. But I tell you, the notarios that are taking care of your closing documents and your title on your home, they are going over everything with a fine tooth comb and making sure that, things are done correctly. And that's the only way that we work. We only work with trusted notarios, trusted developers, trusted builders, and
Um,
other
you know,
trusted
I'm
agents.
super glad that you mentioned that because in Mexico, many of you may or may not know there's a restricted zone which is 60 kilometers from any ocean and 100 kilometers from a border. If you're not a Mexican national, you can't own it in your right name, right, in your natural name. But there are tools that allow you the opportunity to own the property, be able to transfer it, will it, improve it, sell it, and enjoy the rights of the property through what we call a fideicomiso. And those
Yes.
fideicomisos is like a living trust. They're managed by banks, and it's good to know that you work with trusted notarios and trusted developers because I think if Mexico has a negative connotation to its build out history, it's just that there have been developers that are not trustworthy, that there's notario públicos in the past that have not done their right job. But in today's day and age, what I've seen with so much foreign investment is Mexico has done an amazing job and revamping that and working with notarios that know what they're doing, working with attorneys that have mastered the ability of the fideicomiso, making sure that they check every document perfectly, and working with self-financed, very well-experienced developers. And I think that minimizes the risk, just like anything else. Is there risk? Sure, but you want to minimize those risks by working with someone like myself or with Shannon, who have experience working with attorneys in Mexico and can kind of guide you through the process. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Shannon. It's super important because people need to feel comfortable and safe that they're making a great investment.
That's right. That's right. And thank you for reiterating on that, because it is, yeah, I mean, I get that question every day. Is it
Sure.
is it safe to invest in Mexico?
Right.
And and it is. You have to be prepared for the process, that it's going to take a little bit
Right.
longer. And that is because everybody's doing their due diligence and
Sure.
all of that, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think that it's important to understand that not only is the process going to take a little longer, maybe not something as quick as you're used to here in the US, where an escrow period can be 30 to 45 days max. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how long it takes in Canada, but I know that it's probably pretty similar. In
Yeah.
Mexico, it can take a couple months. And you also have to prepare because the fees are going to be a little bit higher, right?
Yes.
It's not as cheap to buy in Mexico because they have, value added tax, and they have the fideicomiso, and they have to pay the bank, and they have to pay the attorneys. So your closing costs might be a little bit more, but
Yes.
rest assured that that investment is going to be well spent because you're going to buy a safe property. A good investment property is going to give you great return, and you're going to be able to own
Yeah.
it for as long as you want.
Yeah. And it's absolutely worth it. You pay a little bit more in the closing costs, but a comparable property to what you're going to get for $500,000 in Mexico is still going to cost you 1.5 in the US or Canada.
Without a doubt, without a
Yeah.
doubt. And what better weather? I mean, that's the beauty about Mexico, right? You can choose what what market you want to live in, what weather you want to live in, and it's going to be more affordable, less costly, and your lifestyle is going to be way, way more improved, more relaxed, because that's what Mexico's known for, right?
That's right. That's right. If you ever feel stress in Mexico, you wander down the beach and go for a walk, and it dissipates like that.
Right, right, right. Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you, Shannon. I've learned quite a lot about you and some of the properties that you represent and that you're developing right now.
Thank you.
If someone should be interested in reaching out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way is actually my link tree.
Hmm.
And so it's Linktree/Luxx Life Global.
Okay.
Um, and so via the Linktree HTTPS
Right.
slash.
I'll post it here and there. If anyone's interested in reaching out to her, please, you can reach out to me as well. Shannon and I, we both work with eXp Realty. I'm here in California, and I'm helping a lot of my clients and a lot of interested clients that are looking to invest not only in Mexico but in Costa Rica, Panama, and other places, to connect with professionals such as Shannon. So if you guys have any interest in investing not only in Mexico but in other communities, please reach out. You have my information. You can reach me via DMs at my direct text at 626-255-2783, or you can send me an email. I'd be happy to connect you with Shannon and all the other professionals that I've interviewed here on the Foreign Investment Podcast. Once again, I'm super grateful for Shannon for sharing some time with us and sharing her insights with us. I look forward to maybe touching base with you and kind of connecting you with Shannon. Any closing comments, Shannon, before we close
Uh,
out?
well, I just thought that was wonderful, and thank you, Hector, so much for having me on here. I love what you're doing to be
Thank you.
able to, have the world is so transient now,
It is.
and to just letting people know that we have the connections in different parts of the world, whether it's cross country or cross borders.
Yes,
It's okay. We've got them covered.
that's right. Well, I certainly appreciate you. Thanks for spending some time. I look forward to working with you in the future. And stay tuned, everyone. Remember to keep an eye out for our next episode of the Foreign Investment Podcast. Once again, I'm Hector Aguilar with the Aguilar Realty Group with eXp Realty. It's been a pleasure serving you. I'll talk to you soon. You all have a beautiful afternoon, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Hector.
Thanks, Shannon.